How's it going, everyone? My name is Mike, and this is the $1,500 gaming PC. Now, before I get into the build, I do want to apologize for me being absent for 2 weeks almost. My computer is basically broken. The power supply is broken. So whenever I try to render a video or something, the computer crashes. So hopefully, if you see this video, of course it did work. But I am hoping to have my new computer built within about a week or two. Anyways, enough about my computer. For the processor, I went with an Intel Core i5 4690K. It is actually the same price as the 4670K, it's $230, or there's a combo deal on Newegg with the motherboard and CPU for $240, but you get a $25 discount. Now the reason that I went with the 4690K over the 4670K is that it's 100 MHz faster stock clocks, and the improved thermal interface material helps it run cooler and you get better overclocks. So maybe a 4.4 GHz 4670K will be a 4.6 GHz 4690K. Now for a $1,500 build, I do not think you should use a stock cooler at all. So for the CPU cooler, we went with the NOCTUA NH-U12S. It is definitely quiet and it's much better than the stock cooler. And surprisingly, it has similar performance to say like an H60 or H75. I would have loved to get like an NH-U14S or an NHD14 or D15, but the case that I chose does not fit that. Now moving on to the motherboard, we went with a GIGABYTE GA-Z97X Gaming 5. It has an 8+2 power phase design that'll let you overclock as much as possible, and it does also match the red and black color scheme, unlike the CPU cooler, which is actually brown. I love NOCTUA products, but I can't deal with the brown fans. I'm so glad they're coming out with black fans later this year. One of the big reasons I chose this board was because it has support for SATA Express, and basically that's even faster than SATA 3 6 gigabits per second. Moving on to the RAM, I went with an ADATA XPG V2, 8 gigs. I really do like this RAM set, it has a really stylish design, and you can even overclock it to say 1866 MHz really easily. And it is also Cas9 1.5 volts, whereas my RAM is 1866 Cas9 at 1.65 volts. It doesn't really matter, but the less voltage the better. Now since this is a $1,500 build, you should definitely be able to get an SSD. I went with a Samsung 840 EVO because it's really fast, and rapid mode takes my 840 EVO to 900 megabytes per second read and almost 700 megabytes per second write. And that's just crazy. Before rapid mode was on, it was around 500 megabytes per second read and about 500 megabytes per second write. So it definitely improved it a lot. Games will load faster, and my OS boots within 15 seconds too. Now the SSD is only 250 gigs, so I did go ahead and get a 1TB Western Digital CAVIAR Blue. It's SATA 3 6 gigabits per second and does have a really nice warranty. I don't personally own a CAVIAR Blue, but a build I did around 1.5 to 2 years ago has a CAVIAR Blue and it's running just fine. Now moving on to the graphics card. I went with an MSI GeForce GTX 780 Ti. This can easily max out games at 1080p. 1440p and 1600p will not be a stretch at all. Now at 4K you won't be able to get 60 FPS, but 30 FPS is about what you should be looking at. The reason I chose this card is because it has the twin FROZR cooler, which will keep it nice and cool. At stock, it's running at 1.02 GHz, and you should easily be able to bump that up. Now for the case, you guys know I am a big fan of NZXT, so I went with an NZXT Phantom 240. This is one of NZXT's new cases. It is plastic, but has a really nice build quality, and cable management should be a breeze with this case. It's actually pretty similar to the Phantom 630, but it's about the size of the Phantom 410. Now finally, for the power supply, I went with an XFX PROSERIES 750 watt. It's fully modular, 80 plus gold. It does have solid Japanese capacitors, and it is one of the best power supplies out there. For this price, you definitely should not cheap out on your power supply, as you don't want one of your components shorting out because of the power supply at all. As always, the PC part picker link will be down below, and some upgrades, if I do decide that there is any actually. Anyways, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.